Hello everyone, welcome back. This is part 2 of making a 6x9 box to house my smaller book pages that were printed in the 1800s. I wanted something to protect them. They're smaller than we normally print books these days. So I took a cracker box just to fill you in and cut the lid off, secured it with duct tape on the sides, and have decorated the lid. This will be the top of the lid, and here's the inside. So when it's like this and I open it up, it says contents, and there's a page of contents. And so this is what I'm doing rather than going out and buying some container that's 6x9. So at this point, I'm going to dump out what's here. This is just some of the pages that I have that will wind up being stored here. So I've got plenty of book pages. I'll set this off to the side for right now. And I've pre-chosen some of these fabrics that are in the color palette that I've chosen for this project, which is different combinations of brown plus black and white, or black and off-white. And I've got a nice variety here to choose from. But what I'm going to do first is to cover the entire perimeter and the bottom with book pages, the same type of pages that will be on the inside. So we'll start with a variety of pages here. They give me not only a difference in color, but the size of the text differs. Here's a title page from one of the books. I'm going to save that for some other project. And I've got plenty of pages from that book that I can pull from. So this is going to be a no-sew, no cut. We're going to be tearing, and you don't have to do the inside, but I might do part of the top of the inside, just because the interior probably won't be filled up at any point, but I don't see any reason to go all the way down, though I could. Well, maybe I'll just do that. I'm not going to worry about covering the bottom, though. And I'm going to get started with just one big single sheet, and then at that point I'll start doing some tearing and work with smaller sections. Make sure you try to get the glue put on fairly well at your edges and corners. think I said in part 1, the splotchiness that you see is the glue on the underside, which will be splotchy until it dries, and then you won't see that anymore. Something about these old pages that are causing it to bleed through more than I normally see when I work with book pages. Probably the paper is thinner, and maybe because it's so old too. Okay, now I think we'll go with a dictionary page next, but I may switch to a glue stick. If you're working with a box of your own, which I hope you are, regardless of its size, I tend to put all my paper on first, and then if I'm considering fabrics as well, I come back afterwards and add the fabric on top of the book pages. You don't have to put fabric on, totally your choice. It's a little hard to do unless you have, you know, a good selection of fabrics on hand. Maybe if you're a seamstress, fashion designer, or you own a fabric store, you've got a lot to work with already. I had a lot of things collected from, oh, I need to turn my straight edge upside down. You're working with delicate paper. Strangely, just that little bit of distance between the bottom of the straight edge and the top is enough to give you a seriously jagged rip that's not ideal for the age of this paper. So just turn your straight edge over so it's completely flat against the paper, and then that won't happen. Okay, moving on. Okay, had another glitch there. My card was filled up, and so my camera just stopped on me because my card was full. I'll get the hang of it one of these days. So, didn't miss much. I did add that little patch on there, and so now we're just going to continue on putting the paper down. I think I'll work with thinner sheets. I am using a glue stick instead of wet glue, so I get more even adhesive over all of it instead of just where I happen to put the glue. I'm doing the inside of the box as well, but just down to the bottom. I'm sure I'll always have some content in there. So it doesn't matter if I do the bottom or not. There's no advertisement on it to bug me at a later date. I'm going to be coming back in after I get all the paper laid down. I'll be coming back in and gluing some fabric here and there to liven it up. By putting the book paper down all over it, I don't have to be as concerned about where I put the fabric. There will be very few places where it isn't covered with paper. It's really important when you're working with, especially working with a glue stick, that you burnish it as thoroughly as you can, because our glue sticks don't, I mean, the glue isn't as good as the wet glue. feeling a little scattered. I apologize for that. Paper tears so easily. I think we'll flip this over. Be easier to cover up any tears on the outside rather than inside the box. This browner paper is older and also more sensitive. So have to be extra careful with it. And this lighter paper page here is also from a book printed in the 1800s, but for some reason maybe it's a little thicker paper or better quality paper. Not so brittle. Okie doke. Coming down to the last section here. I think we'll do something there. Make that a little more interesting. English Literature, the name of one of the books. this up on the sides, and then I just have a little bit more to add to the bottom, and we'll be done with the book pages. Okay, now since I was overlapping, my job on the back is nearly done already. I just need to lay down one sheet and our back will be all done. Okay, back. Most of the sides I've got a place over here that I missed. There, but I'm probably going to put, I think I'm going to put fabric on all four corners to help secure them, as I think corners and the lid will get the most stress. So we're done with this initial part of what I have planned. Tidy up here a little, it's getting kind of messy. Okay, now as far as fabrics go, I'm going to stay in my color palette. I think I'm going to pull out a bunch of small pieces first to get started. So when you're working with patterns, you want to have a good mix, but just as important as having some variety is having some size difference. So if you'll notice, I've got these little tiny polka dots, and here's one with a little larger polka dot, and we go all the way up to a fairly significant polka dot. But then we also have these other patterns as well. So there's a nice variety there, not only of the type of pattern, but the size of each one. But I don't want to do all just black and white. That's what I mostly have. But remember, our butterfly has some kind of orangey, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of brown in there, and of course we've got brown tone in the book page. So I want to reflect some of that color along the sides as well. But I think that I'm going to work with some of the taller fabrics to go on the corner. So I'll be working with Fabrifix. This is the part where it's okay to improvise. You really can't decide a whole lot in advance at this stage. As long as you know the colors are good for what you're doing, they're within your palette, and you know already you have a nice variety. I snip it at the top and then just press down one side and then the other. And that gives me a nice finished look on top. So here's another nice piece here. So I'll have some consistency in color going with the black and white on each of the four corners. And that brings unity to my design. There's many different ways to create unity in what you're doing. And the best way is through repetition. Either repetition of pattern or repetition of color. Some sort of repetition brings unity. Whether you're decorating a box, a journal, a room in your home, it's best not to have just a complete mishmash. Look for ways to unify what you're doing from room to room so it has a bit of a cohesive feel. Okay, I think we can do with some horizontal stripe at this point. So I'm going to tear off a section. And this will do nicely for corner number 3. at the end, down, right in the middle where the corner is, and then just push the fabric down to the inside, and you have a nice finished corner. And we have one more to go. So, what shall we do for this corner? I need a strip that will be long enough. So, is this dragging in? I could do this. I could do some polka dots. And I could do a checkered. I think I'm gonna go with the polka dots. I'm not really a big fan of stars. But it just comes down to personal preference at that point. Now I'm starting to think ahead in terms of what other kind of embellishment I'm going to want along the sides. Not sure I want to put down any more butterflies to conflict with my main focal point. My pieces have gotten longer and longer. Notice that. Okay, all four corners are done. Now I'm just going to, I think, put some random fabrics here and there, or maybe I'll infuse some text along this line. Started to use this little snippet for some other project and then put it back. Yeah, I think this is a nice direction to go. I've got text on the lid, so it makes sense to have a different kind of text on the sides. Along with some random fabric. So I want this to look kind of grungy, loosey, goosey. That dream. just stay with the black and white. And keep it. I've got a lot going on with the text and the different book pages, and also the bold designs of the fabric. Might stay with the kind of the black and white accents around the edge. Okay, let's look for a notice my style, of course, is always very asymmetrical. I do a lot of things that are symmetrical, but it just depends on the style. If it has a kind of a grungier, even a little more modern feel to it, I will definitely work asymmetrically, as opposed to something that's ultra feminine and maybe Edwardian or Victorian, or a style like that, something real traditional. Then I will consider doing yoga friendship. Tomorrow, let's go with tomorrow, since all of these book pages were kind of yesterday. So shall I go up top, down toward the bottom? Go lay it in there. Not having a good day. I set my camera timer to go off to warn me when I need to start a new clip, and either it went off and I didn't hear it, something happened, so I lost part of what I was filming again. So let me show you where I am now, so I can catch you up. Got the word inspire, dream, friendship, and tomorrow. And everything is done staying with the black and white color palette for the corners and in the middle. Then we've got our words on a grayish white background. And I had been explaining before or after the camera stopped filming, I'm sure, that I had decided to stay with the black and off-white color scheme of the fabric rather than introduce some of this color here. Anyway, what shall be the front? I think maybe that will be the front. And so this is going to have to be attached this way. And I'm trying to think how best to do that. I'm going to stop filming until I figure out what I'm going to do, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I did go ahead without filming, and I decided to hinge the lid with a piece of duct tape, and I didn't want this to show on the outside of the box, so I hinged it thoroughly inside. But I'm not going to completely rely on that holding, though it's doing quite well. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attach just a thin strip of this African fabric that I have, which I thoroughly love, and I'm not going to do very much on the top. Most of it will be on the back end of the box. But that will just give it a little bit more sturdiness. And the fabric is very flexible. I don't want anything stiff that makes it hard to open or close it. So I wanted something that's flexible, but that doesn't take away from the design I have going. I'll just put a little bit showing on the top of the lid, but most of the fabric's going to be on the back end of the box. And there we have it. Our custom box to protect our antique book pages. I see I have some touch-up I'll have to do before I call it finished, but I think as far as this video is concerned, we can call this a wrap. If you enjoyed this content, this idea, please share it with your family and friends or anybody that you run across. I'd appreciate the support. And thank you for sticking with me. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I did. So, with that said, this is Miss Darling calling this a wrap.